What up, everybody? What up? Let's make sure we're on Rumble here. Hold on just a second. Let's do Rumble. Let's get ready to Rumble. Can I say that without being sued by the boxing guy? Gonna be able to- Rumble gonna work here or what? Come on, Rumble. You gonna work with me? All right, so throughout this live stream, Liam, who's a biggest Celtics fan, he's gonna probably text me about the Celtics score. I don't know if you guys watch basketball. Hey James, we got Marie, pulverizer, Jill, run on. Is it low here? Connection unstable. You guys hearing this okay? Is it okay on your end? It says connection. All right, looks like it's all right now. All right, good. All right. So anyway, I don't know if y'all watch basketball or not. I don't really care that much, but I mean, all right, right on pulverizer. Like it's fun with my boy. He likes watching basketball, so we watch. I'm gonna stay with true, Andrew. Yeah, right on. All right. John says he's satisfied. That's what all the ladies say, John. They all say they're satisfied when they deal with little buddy Josh. Shh, don't tell my wife I said that because she'll say they do because I'm the only one who's saying anything about it and I ain't satisfied. Anyway, who you guys got, the Celtics or the Heat tonight? Anyways, it's crazy. You don't want, why does this keep saying unstable? You don't want to end a season on a ref. Here's what I hate about the NBA. Here's what I hate about the NBA. It's they just call too many fouls, dude. Like there's too many foul shots. It's insane. I thought the NFL was bad, where they just penalties on every play. The NBA is worse. And so what happened with the Game 6 of the Heat and Celtics is the Celtics couldn't put them away in the Heat, and Jimmy Butler and I mean just they were looking like crap. And then what happened was the refs started, the whistle, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the Heat couldn't hit anything. It's crazy. But Jimmy Butler got to the line like 8 free throws attempts in like last 3 minutes of the game, and it's nuts. And so anyway, long story short, so the Heat have the ball. All right, they're down by 2 with like 15 seconds left, and Jimmy Butler takes a 3-point shot as he's getting fouled by Big Al Horford, and it wasn't that. Look, I don't. You don't want to end a season like that. So Jimmy Butler sinks all 3 foul shots, and they go up by 1 with 3 seconds left. And you just don't want to. I don't care if you like the Celtics or hate them, but you don't want a season to be end on foul shots, dude, because that just shows you how much the refs are involved. And I hate that. I hate it now with the NFL. We went to a minor league game yesterday, as a matter of fact. Pitch clock and batter clock. Actually, that wasn't it, Andrew. The minor league game, they were literally you could challenge balls and strikes. They must have challenged. I was like at least a couple times an inning. It seemed like they're challenging balls and strikes. They're like, what is this? It was weird. So it was weird. So these guys, one guy's up there. He looks like he's about to get walked. It's a full count. He gets walked. He puts the bat in. Then it gets challenged. Everyone just stops. They're looking at the data, the jumbotron thing, and then didn't stay on. Then he starts walking back to the dugout. Right? I guess he's out. It was weird. I don't like that at all, man. Old days, yeah. Ron James says old days when Bad Boys was the end of the letting them play. Yeah, because they did not like 100% James. They did not like Detroit. You know what I'm saying? They weren't good for rating. I don't know about ratings. I'm not sure. I don't think they're the Detroit Bad Boys weren't good for ratings. Kind of like the San Antonio Spurs. Um, but yeah, they can't have umps calling strike. I mean, you can, but this challenge at balls and strikes is freaking nuts, man. I get you can challenge, freaking, safe at first place and stuff like that. I get that, but balls and strikes, nah, 100%, man. Anyway, it was crazy. And it was fun. I love minor league baseball. We saw the Durham Bulls come to Gwinnett, play the Gwinnett Stripers. Hey, look at them. Oh, all right, so oops, right here. You think Celtics, Marie? I think the Celtics too. It's crazy. They've never had an NBA where an 03 team has come back and won ever. Isn't that crazy? 149 times, never not one time. And then hockey's happened 3 times, and it could happen. I think the Stars are playing Golden Las Vegas tonight. Let's double check. So Stars were down 3-0, and now it's and now it's 3-2. Yeah, they're playing tonight. In fact, that face-off just happened. All right, cool. So I'm going for the Stars there. We definitely like to see a 7-game series. Um, Ref cheated Pacers. The New York Knicks game was horrible. Even the ref admitted. Yeah, 100%. I mean, because they want the Knicks, you know. But look at my man CB. We haven't seen CB from California on here lately. CB probably for a while. I must have said something to offend that guy. I'm not sure what though. I didn't get the impression he was a COVID Nazi. I didn't get that. Maybe he was. But I haven't seen CB from California for a long time, actually. Probably going on about a year. About a year. He was a mainstay at the beginning of the channel, CB from California. I wonder why he left. Hmm. There's some people like I've seen come later on that haven't been for a while. I said, "Oh, you're back," but CB from California. It's weird how he came and went. It's actually kind of funny because I was talking to a guy today, and we hadn't talked probably 2 years or so, and he was doing great. But it's just it's funny like the pre-COVID is like we got AD and BC, the birth of Jesus. For me, it's a pre-COVID, post-COVID. That's the it's a whole different world pre-COVID and post-COVID, and some people don't get it. I was gonna do a video today that I want my apology from Rob because I had a guy on here who's a heavy supporter. He gave me money and all that. By the way, if you guys want to super chat, by all means, I'll take your money. Super chat, baby. Just right down below, super chat. So if you want to super chat and have your comment or question read out loud to the group, I'll do it. It's got to pay money though. Paid money. But anyway, this guy, he was a big supporter. This is back when I thought the Republican Party was the answer to our solutions. Not being facetious here, but I was a lot more Republican than I am now because I recognize. You hear what they're doing in Texas? They're impeaching the Texas Attorney General. The only guy who's really doing anything on the Attorney General is Ken Paxton. There's a couple other Attorney Generals that are pretty good, like the one in Indiana. But Ken Paxton is kicking ass and taking names. And of course, the Republican Party wants to, because all rhinos do. So they want to impeach him. And they're like, oh, it's just this freaking nuts. And Greg Abbott is not saying a damn thing. Not saying a damn thing. And Paxton was saying, they asked him, Paxton, like, why are they coming after you now? He goes, because I think last year in the election, they thought they could beat me with George Bush. And then when I smoked him, they recognized that this has been the works for a long time. They have to impeach me because Paxton is a guy who's taking the fight to them, if that makes sense, as opposed to being like Republicans are always on the defense, always. And Paxton is taking the fight to them. Hey, what's going on, Carson? Hey, Carson. And so because Paxton's actually a fighting Republican, kind of like Trump, they want him gone. Now, I got my issues with Trump. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm not going to get that here today. Just got my issues. But at the end of the day, I do like Ken Paxton. And I chuckled that the Republican Party is impeaching him. The Democrats never do that. It's crazy. The Democrats never, 100%. Did you hear? I posted on my locals channel that they had the video of the speaker. It was like literally drunken loon. I'll see if I can't play that actually. The guy sounds like a freaking drunken loon, man. Let me see if I can't play that. It's on my locals channel. Hold on just a second. So good, Josh. I was like, dude, could you be any more insane? So we'll go over here. Thanks to our incredible men. Kraken Eggs tweet is on here. Right on. Yeah, Carson, I disagree that the men and women who had served our military and protecting us, were they actually protecting us when they went to Vietnam, when they went to Iraq, when they went to Afghanistan? They're pawns. And I fell for many years too. I'm not falling for it anymore. These guys are pawns, dude. No other way around. 58,007 people in Vietnam, all pawns. Sad. All right, so let's go to my locals page here. I'll share it with you. And it actually just infuriates me that we've all been fed a bunch of lies from our own government for many years about the adventures for the military spending. It's freaking sickening. All right, so here's my locals channel, which you should join 100%. And right here, I thought this was pretty interesting. The U.S. has the third highest murder rate in the world. But if you remove Chicago, Detroit, D.C., St. Louis, and Philly, the U.S. is then 189th out of 193s in the world. All 5 cities have strict gun control laws and are controlled by Democrats. I've always said that America is very, very safe, except for South Fulton County, Southeast D.C. South Side Chicago, Philadelphia, wherever, you know what I'm saying? It's you stay away from those places, you're fine. You're a very safe country. That's just a fact. So all these people say, "Oh, I don't want to get shot." Like, it's nuts. All right, let's keep going down here. I can't show this right here because that thing is great. So here, let's see if we can't show this. Oh, hold on a second. Blink. I'm gonna. Yeah, sweet. All right, cool. I can. So here's a speaker impeaching Ken Paxton, and if you can understand a word this guy says, hold on a second. Hold on just a second. There we go. All right. If you can understand this, you're a better person than me.
Mr. Campbell sent out the amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? And the chair has none. The amendment is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Johnson of Harris. Mr. Johnson of Harris to speak in opposition to the bill.
So let's watch that again. What the hell did he say? Check this out. Listen.
Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
Mr. Campbell sent out the amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? And the chair has none. The amendment is adopted.
I mean, what the hell was that, dude? This is, I mean, screw these guys, man. Republican Party kiss my butt. I'm sick of them. I mean, the Democrats never do this. Can you hear that? He's sick. And he used to be safe. Oh, so Mr. Wrestling says, love the market talk. Oh my goodness, water. You can't have introductory chit chat. You guys are banned. You're banned. All right. Gotta go, boys. Gotta go. All right. Anyway, so the point being is like the Democrats never do this. They didn't do it to Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein. They never do it. The only person that came close to doing it was Bob Torricelli. Remember that guy? And they let Bob Menendez, New Jersey. They did Torricelli wrong. I don't know, you all may or may not remember him. He was a senator from New Jersey. Bob, what did Rush Limbaugh had a nickname for him? I forgot what it was, but he was like a bulldog. It was a bad person, 100%. But he, I forgot why they ran him out, but they put back Frank Lautenberg in there, old man Frank Lautenberg, to replace Bob Torricelli. And well, you can be banned too, Pulverizer. You can be banned too. You don't have to stay. It's cool. Dude, we've been doing this for 10 minutes. We're just yapping about some stuff. Then we'll go into the friggin' stuff we want to talk about. But you don't have to be here. No one's got to be here. That's the funny thing is you get enough comments like that, though, you got to knock out the trolls, dude. You got to knock them out because once one person says something that builds, you got to nip in the butt right off the hook, right out of the gate. If not, then you're going to have inundated with people, and you just can't have that, dude. It's not fun for people who are sniping. For the regular commentators or people who are interested in commenting, who are actually have things to say, it's not fun to be inundated with trolls, and it just happens all the time. They're just people on live streams like this get it. Boy, then they ousted Anthony Weiner too. Yep, 100%. That's right, Kraken. So they ousted the only people they got was all right, Pulverizer. Just leave that. I'm not gonna ban you, but if you don't like it, leave. It's okay. Why? Who cares? I don't care. It's just yapping, dude. And people like they've been here they literally jump on. Right on, man. They jump exactly. Meteor guy. Like the idea that I'm gonna get here and get right to the point. Then you're jumping on. No one. I've never done that. I never will because it's not my nature. It's not my nature. So the idea I'm gonna jump in here and start right to my point. No one. If you're here thinking that, you're wrong. And if you're here thinking that and you've been here before, like Mr. Wrestling, he's been here before, so we got to ban him because he's like, oh, literally his first comment, I love the market talk. Oh, get out of here. If you don't want to, I'll ban you. That's cool. I don't care. But if you're going to come here and your first thing is after 5 minutes of being here and a little bit of small talk, you're going to be like, man, imagine dating Mr. Wrestling Dating Mr. Wrestling. The guy's like, hey, I bought you a beer. Let's hop in a sack. And the girl's like, can we have some small talk? No, it's been 5 minutes. I just bought you a beer. I bought you a Bud Light too. So let's hop in a snack. And for what it's worth, the tape of the voice during Paxton impeachment sounds doctored. Maybe you got any evidence it was doctored? We got evidence that says looking like he was talking and looking like he was drunk. That's pretty good to me. You have any evidence at all that it sounds doctored? Do you have any evidence to state that claim? I mean, you might. I don't know. I'm just saying at the end of the day, he sounded like a drunken skunk. And just because he sounded like a drunken skunk and you're going to say he's doctored, I say no. It's most likely that he was drunk. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Mr. Wrestler, not by type, says Jill. No, 100%. Especially got a mask on. He can't even show his face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, dude. Show your face. Anyway, so what we're saying is, going back to that, the Democrats got Weiner and they got Torricelli. That's it. Remember the Republicans, though. Remember the guy Todd Akins from Missouri. They went after him because he said something about rape. You know, he's like, they freaking. I remember Mitt Romney saying, all these guys say he shouldn't be able to run. I was like, dude, just because he said it off, they went after Roy Moore. Remember Roy Moore in Alabama? They went after Todd Aiken, Roy Moore, and there's another guy too. There's three of them they went after. They went after Ken Buck. Remember Ken Buck, who was the congressman? They went after Jumpin' Joe, not Jumpin' Joe Harris, Jumpin' Joe up there in Alaska. You know what I'm saying? This is the issue. The Republicans. So what happens here is we had them here in Georgia too. Is a lot of guys, men, white guys in particular, because they're not welcome to the Democratic Party. Yeah, Roy Moore. And then they turned out that what they did against that guy was basically made up. They went after somebody else too. I mean, they go after everybody. This is the Republicans. I'm not talking about Harry Reid saying that Mitt Romney never filed his tax returns. And people are like, what? You never filed and then it's just he's like, I made it up. What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? This Republicans going after people. What's the guy's name? Wasn't Joe Harris. It was Joe something out of Alaska who beat Murkowski in the primary, and then they turn on him. I can't remember what it was. It was Joe. You remember Joe? Yeah, Republicans like Boy Scouts, virtual signaling, then go after their own, except they'll just bow down to the freaking powers that be in the Democratic and the corporate elite. It's crazy, man. Anyway, so it's Todd Aiken, Roy Moore, Joe. Wasn't there a guy in Indiana too? As they retain that too? Taking a sabbatical in July. Right on, man. Halftime is prime. Yeah, right on. I was talking to a guy today, same thing. I was like, dude, he said, I said, look, he's making big money. I said, if you work another year, you're looking great. There's no two ways around that, but you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't have a big gig. I mean, I don't have a crappy little job. I liked being free. When he took like a 3-month sabbatical. He goes, man, it's just freedom was liberating. Anyway, there was a guy in Indiana too they went after. And then Mike Braun ended up winning. And anyway, the point being is the Republican Party. So what happens is in Republican conservative places, white men are going to come to the Republican Party because they know they can be elected. They will not be elected as Democrats. There's just no help wanted for white men in the Democratic Party anymore. There isn't any. But Joe Biden, these guys are already established. The new blood will not be young white guys. It's just Joe Miller. That was it, Denise. You got it, Joe Miller. Jumpin' Joe. Yes, man. And that guy crushed. And Ken Buck won the primary in Colorado. And then there's another one too in 2010 that we should have won. Then we had that Christine O'Donnell. Remember her in Delaware? She's a witch. She's a witch. Remember that? And all the Republicans scurried from Christine O'Donnell. And she was freaking crushing. You know, you could say she's weird. Look at the Democrats. And all the Republicans say, we don't want Todd Aiken. We don't want Jumpin' Joe from Alaska. We don't want Christine O'Donnell. We don't want Ken Buck. And there's I'm telling you, Indiana too. I forgot who it was, man. Anyway, I can't remember. But long story short, this is the Republican Party, part and parcel. So what happens is you have these conservative places like Texas. I used to live in South Texas. My representative was an ass clown too, just like this guy who impeached Ken Paxton. And he would never run. He's not a Republican. He just pretends he is because he's a white guy. He knows he can't win in the Democratic Party, so he comes in as a white guy in the Republican Party. And he talks well enough that we say he sounds conservative, but he gets in there with the Chamber of Commerce, and that's where it gets bad. The Chamber of Commerce. Well, Sarah Palin, I mean, Sarah Palin, she at the end of the day, she went and she's governor, and then she became running mate. But the problem was, her time had kind of passed, and they did the choice voting stuff in Alaska too, and the choice voting is doomed Sarah Palin, because what happened was, you say, and this happening someplace else. So I think Maine, they're trying to do that now, and you think it sounds good. It doesn't. All it is incumbent protection racket. That's why Lisa Murkowski keeps winning. She always loses the primaries, but she keeps winning, because choice voting says the Democrats, well, if I can't get if I can't get the Democrat, I'll vote for the Democrat and then Lisa. And then the Republican says, well, if I can't get Jumpin' Joe Miller, I'll vote for Joe Miller and then Lisa. And then Lisa comes second every single time. And at some point, you're gonna have to bite it. You're gonna have to do like they did with Roy Moore. Roy Moore loss sucks, but we got Tommy Tuberville instead. And I'd much rather have more Roy Moore, don't get me wrong. But they had a guy named Doug Jones in Alabama who was there for 2 years, like a placeholder. And he did some damage, but thankfully at that stage, Trump was the president, so he couldn't do that much damage. But sometimes you gotta say, look, we're not voting for Lisa Murkowski, number 2 in our ranked choice. We're literally going to vote for the Democrat instead. You got to, because in Alaska, the Democrats not going to retain her seat very long. I mean, you could argue Tester did in Montana. I get that. Not likely. And so you got to just say, no. We can't have these people. And you can't have Susan. You got to get rid of Susan Collins. That's a little bit different because Maine is pretty liberal, at least Portland is. But, Susan Collins is probably the best thing Maine will ever get, for sure. We used to have Olympia Snowe and Susan Collins, 2 Rhino Republican ladies. And that, that was better than nothing. But in Alaska, you're not going to have a Democratic senator for long. Maybe just for a temporary stopgap, but it's not going to be for long. So you just got to bite the bullet and say no more Lisa Murkowski, and just don't rank her. Say I'm not rank her. Yeah, Republicans just slower. Maybe it was Todd Young. And Mike Braun did something. I forgot what it was. It ticked me off. And white Democrats bail on their party, pretend to be, that's exactly what happens, Andrew. The white Democrats say, because the thing is, they bail on the party because they're not wanted. And everyone knows that. So then the Republicans come, open arms, come over here, like we did with that guy in New Jersey. I think it was a rep in New Jersey. Come over here. And then he becomes a rep as a Republican. And then we're shocked when they become rhinos. You're like, the only reason he's coming over here is because he's going to get primaried. That's how AOC, people forget, it was like the 3rd ranking guy in the Democratic caucus. AOC took out because he's a white guy. And AOC, to her credit, she says, I'm going to freaking go up against him. And everyone's like, you can't beat this guy. I forgot the guy's name. And she won. She won, man. And so a lot of Democrats, white Democrats, they see that, and they see these rabble rousers from the far left are like, they're going to take me out. I'm going to switch parties while I still can. And Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, they'll give me the go ahead to come on over. You're like, are you really Republican, or are you just trying to save your political thing? And that's what happens. Anyway, all right. So Flimsy Lindsay. Oh my goodness. Did you hear what Lindsey Graham was saying? And I think it was in Ukraine, saying it's a matter of time Ukraine will be in the NATO. And he's just like, I was like, why does this guy want war? And then they're like, Todd Young. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, so Lindsey Graham said, I think we want. He's talking about the military, that they're not going to give a big boost to spending. He's like, this is a joke. It's like, the guy they're freaking desperate for war. These guys on Memorial Day. I'm like, dude. Denise says, I'm still stunned we have a seated president who's elected after saying poor kids are, what I'm saying. Don't forget, he said, they're going to put y'all back in chains. You talk about the Indians, Obama was for once we get an articulate, bright black guy. The guy's been racist since day one. He voted for the Clinton crime bill, which put black men in jail. He was big fan of Strom Thurmond, the segregationists, because he came up with there's still, not really segregation, but still segregationists in the Senate. He said, basically Delaware was basically a southern state. That's what Joe Biden said. And it's all crap. All right. So to make Pulverizer happy. He's probably gone now. That's okay. Look, dude, no one has to be here. This is cathartic for me. I like doing this. Oh, by the way, so we're going to go twice now on locals because I have enough people to go twice. So if you join my locals, $5 a month, A, I'll set you up in Right Capital, and B, you can be active participant in the live streams we do. So we do one every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time after the market's closed. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a locals only a Wednesday at 8 p.m. So I'll just be here on YouTube on Mondays at 8 p.m. That's it. I'm just going to live streams on YouTube don't pay anything anyway. They get a decent sized crowd here. I got 144 here right now on YouTube, and I got my 2 YouTube channels, and I got how many I got on Rumble. I got let's see here, Richard Murdoch. Richard Murdoch. Was that the guy they did wrong? Cracking Eggs tweet. Yeah, we got 11. So we got 150 people on these things, which is great. But the problem is you got to be careful what you say, and then you can get a lot of trolls. And at least with Rumbles, well, you don't understand it because you don't know how trolls work, Pulverizer. This is what they do. Did I see Gerald Calente's? I don't know. I have not. Yeah, we get trolls here, especially towards the end. The pet peeve of mine is people get on here and literally we've been talking for 5 to 10 minutes. They say, you're not talking about the topic at hand. I'm like, either you're new here and you should probably just shut up anyway and learn how the system works, at least my live stream, or you're just being a dick. And I don't want any of it. I was like, get out of here. So that's why I Pulverizer, because we've been talking for 5 to 10 minutes. We got 2 people say, I like the market talk. It's like, do I have thin skin? Maybe. Don't care. You've been here 5 to 10 minutes. If you're not new to my channel, and Mr. Wrestling is not, he knows how the channel works. Yeah, we got 28 on this channel. On my other, so I got, see, Penelope, there's Penelope. She's like, you don't have 150 people. I got 144. We got 114 on my main Heritage Wealth Planning channel. We got 2 on Facebook. We got 28 on my smaller channel, Josh Scanlon. And then on Rumble, we got another 15 or so, it looked like. So another 11. Yeah, so there you go. So Penelope, there you go. They're just 100%. And it's like, oh, so boring. But the problem is when you let them take an inch, they take a foot. You got to get them out ASAP. All right, so let's, 100%. So people don't understand there's different channels. When you use this StreamYard thing, we can go on LinkedIn. I don't think I have anyone on. I got 3 people on Facebook, 117 here, 128 on my other smaller channel, and then in Rumble we got some people there too. So it's good. But the problem is at the end of the day, the live streams, they don't pay anything. And the locals, you want to reward the people who are loyal participants. That's what you want to do. And the live streams on Rumble, on locals can be like last Friday was fun, dude. We were talking about everything, man. Everything. It was great. I very much enjoy that. And when I'm on YouTube, you got to watch what you say. Because one slip, I'm kind of like the Linus and the Great Pumpkin, you know what I'm saying? Where he goes, Great Pumpkin, if you're real, show your face. He goes, ooh, if you're real, oh my goodness, if you're real, show your. He goes, I'm doomed. I'm doomed. I'm doomed. There's my man Josh, kicking ass in Lobsterville, Maine. Josh Wellner in Lobsterville, Maine. That's all right, Penelope. It's all right. Look, dude, I don't lie. I got nothing to lie about. So if I say it, assume it's honest. You know what I'm saying? I might be wrong, but I don't lie. I'm like Owen Benjamin. I might be wrong, but I don't lie. You know what I'm saying? And if I get corrected and it shows I'm wrong, I'm happy to correct the thing. I'm not gonna, but I just don't lie. There's no reason. Great Pumpkin conspiracy theory. Ooh, I like it. There's Jeremy back on Rumble. Yeah, Jeremy. Last time with Joe Kuhn, I forgot to set it up, man. That's a one again. It's forget. All right. So let's go on this. I wanted to. I'm not on Twitter. I'll never be on Twitter. I think Twitter is. I think they allowed people like Owen Benjamin, Donald Trump, to get back on Twitter to encourage conservatives to get back on there. And I would encourage you not to be, frankly. I know it seems like Elon Musk is a plant. I mean, he's absolutely a plant. No, look at Cracking Eggs tweet. Oh, that's nice. Cracking Eggs tweet says that Jeremy, hope things are looking up, Jeremy. Because, yeah, right. Roy Moore sued some of the false allocations and he won. Exactly right. They falsely out. Yeah, right on me too, James. I like locals. Roy Moore sued and he won. He was shown to be, whatever. So remember, because they made crap up against him. And all the Republicans, from Mitch McConnell on down, they just jumped ship because they did not like that he stood against the establishment. And so you're like, is Mitch McConnell truly a Republican, or is he just put there to mimic Harry Reid and Lindsey Graham and all these guys? Is Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley? No. Tim Scott? No. I mean, I like Tim Scott. I have no problem with him, but he's certainly not presidential, for heaven's sake, man. Yeah, dude. All right, so there's Pulverizer. It's obvious Elon Musk is a friggin' plant. I mean, just look at his dad and his mom, for heaven's sake, man. Yeah, 100%, dude. Don't forget the stupid chick. What is that heavy girl's name from some stupid HBO show? Ugliest Sin with a tattoo. Oh, what's that chick's name from HBO's? Oh, she was around. She was big for a while. I can't remember. She's Ugliest Sin. She was just a nasty person. She said she was raped, falsely accused this guy at Oberlin College, and she didn't say his name explicitly, but she basically said, A plus B plus C plus D, blah blah blah, and everyone's like, well, it's Brian in accounting, essentially. Everybody knew it was Brian in accounting, and Brian in accounting was like, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, wonder why you couldn't sue her. That stupid, I can't remember, Lori or Lena, Leah Dunham, Leah Dunham, whatever the chick's name is, Dunham. Remember her? Oh, horrible human being. Dunham. Is Lena Dunham, I think, or Lori Dunham? I think it's Lena Dunham. Just another rich girl. Just another rich girl, dude. You know what I'm saying? No different than the chick from Taylor Lorenz. And they're like, her uncle is not on the Wayback Machine. Okay, well, I believe you, Taylor Lorenz. Oh, by the way, did you all hear? Check this out. Who is at the Bilderberger Group? I'm glad Stacey Abrams. I'm glad you reminded me of that. You'll never understand. You'll see Bilderberger Group. All right, who is there? You're never gonna. I mean, it's all the bigwigs, all the the head of NATO, the whole thing, everyone. And then guess who else? Stacey Abrams. Like, what in God's name is that crazy? Is that wonderful human being doing at the Bilderberg Group? Stacey Abrams was at the Bilderberg Group. They're meeting in the. Isn't that crazy? Like, what? Dude, crazy, man. Stacey Abrams. Yeah, Lena Dunham, that's her name. Oh, man. Hey, Rebecca. Que paso? Rebecca's crushing. Anyway, Stacey, I was like, why are they so hot to trot for Stacey Abrams? Ugh, it's weird. I mean, I know why. We all know why, but it's like, why? Why that lady? All right, so let's go into this. I want to show you a couple of things. So I get the if that's okay with Pulverizer. Is it okay, Pulverizer? We go into the topic at hand. But you're 30 minutes in. By the way, I tried listening to Animals Pulverizer from Pink Floyd. It just doesn't do it for me, man. And I'm not an anti-Roger Waters guy. This weekend is about the fallen, not partying. But dude, come on. I hear you, Brian. I absolutely agree with you, but that ship has done sailed, brother. That ship has sailed. So yep, I completely agree. I would encourage you to recognize that and instead of saying, as some people do, like there's nothing happy about Memorial Day, people that's not, people want to hear that. And you might say happy Memorial Day, say, yeah, definitely think you might. So what you say instead of someone say, hey, happy Memorial Day, or you want to talk about the sale we got at the car dealership, or we got 2 for 1 on pizza, say, yeah, man, if only the guys who died in Vietnam, the 58,007 died in Vietnam, if only they could celebrate that day too. Something like that. You see what I'm saying? You got to turn it. I did 100% Pulverizer. I was 100% anti-Roger Waters, 100%. Because I was 100% GOP. I was 100%, well, Israel is the best thing since sliced bread. And if you say anything that maybe you don't like Israel in terms of like some of the stuff they do, it makes you anti-Semite now. And I just, I just sit there and I say, how come it's okay to say anything about these other countries, but if you say anything about a certain country, you're banned. It's crazy. And I'm not anti-Israel. I just don't think why. I mean, I think there's issues 100%. And one of the reasons I think that actually is I got this book at a yard sale or at a estate sale, which I can't say is by, let's just put it this way, it's by, y'all remember John, remember that guy? Remember him? John, and this, I probably can't even show you this book, but I got an estate sale, but I will just do like that. And it's interesting. And so this guy right here, John, y'all remember this guy? Do you remember this guy? I hope y'all remember who John Mearsheimer was, or is, I should say, because he was one of the only guys that is able to speak the truth on certain foreign policies of going on to Eastern Europe right now. You see what I'm saying? And anyway, the issue is at the end of the day, if we're going to call out the bad things that countries do, we got to call out the bad things that all countries do. That includes Ukraine, that includes Israel. It's just a fact. And to say that Israel could be engaging or Ukraine could be engaging in some unworthy activities doesn't make you an anti-Semite, doesn't make you pro-Putin or anything like that. It's weird that you can't say these things. And anyway, I don't like it. And I think people should have ability to criticize without being called bad things. But it seems like you can't do that anymore. It's kind of sad. Anyway, so the point being was, so that's why I was always the anti-Roger Waters. I say, because Roger Waters was sticking it a little bit too hard. You know what I'm saying? I was like, come on. Like, I don't even like the guy. Still don't like him, but I'm not anti like I was. I'm just like, now he's a curmudgeon, and curmudgeons are a dime a dozen, man. That's just a fact. And so Roger Waters is just another curmudgeon, but I'm not anti Roger Waters. It's like, okay, here we go. Just another curmudgeon. Nothing wrong with that, but I remember my man John on this channel, Elajade, I almost banned him for some of his anti-Israel talk. It's not, when I say anti-Israel, it's not like anti-Israel, like, oh my, it's just like, maybe the Palestinians we should listen to their point of view as opposed to just naturally like saying, oh, they're wrong. And I mean, that is defined as anti-Israeli talk apparently, which is crazy because that's what I felt. I did. You want to have the American Israeli flag together. I'm like, I don't know if I don't like that, man. I mean, why are we like pray for Israel? Well, why can't you pray for Syria? I mean, if you just, I'm just reading right now in the book of Hosea, you know what I'm saying? And all these countries, Hosea was what, 950 to 900 BC. And, Syria's back then, Egypt was back then, Israel's back then. So how come we can't pray for Syria? Why is it always pray for Israel? Why can't we pray for Syria? Why can't we pray for Egypt? Shouldn't we be praying for everybody? Our enemies and our allies alike? Of course we should. So I don't like that's what really it hit me like, it's all pray for Israel. I said, but we're kind of the ones that are doing a lot of damage in the Middle East. Us in the Libya and Syria and stuff, we are doing it. And we're just going to say, no, don't pray for those people that you guys took out. Just pray for those guys over there. I'm like, I don't like that. Anyway, all right. So it's, but yes, so again, it's pre-COVID, John Ingleheimer Schmidt. There's pre-COVID and there's post-COVID. And that's me, post-COVID. It's a whole different world, man. A lot of people don't get it. There's still, so Psalms, we are to pray for the peace of Israel. Okay. Why can't we pray for the peace of Syria? Why can't we pray for the peace of Egypt? I mean, so we're going to take 122:6 and say, pray for Israel, pray for Israel, pray for Israel, and say, okay, to the exclusivity of all these other countries. Because in the Bible, there's tons of things you pray for. Tons of things. Yeah. I mean, this is what drives you crazy about the Bible, actually. Not about the Bible, but the people, they pick and choose stuff in the Bible. And I'm not saying I don't. But if we actually we can look at the Bible and say, the Bible says all these other things too. Do we not know the book of Ezekiel, the book of Jeremiah, the book of Daniel, of what God was saying about Israel? Do we not know this? Is Israel truly the only free country in the Middle East? Says Liberty 1/1776. Yeah, it's because it's the 51 state, 100%, man. Is it really the only free country? Because last I saw, What if you didn't take the jab in Israel? If they can force you to take a jab, especially Israeli government, I'm sitting there thinking, how can you do that, man? I mean, you guys, it'd be like blacks forcing you to take a jab at Tuskegee. It's crazy. I'm like, how can you do that? How can you force people to take this? It's nuts. That's actually pretty funny. Freedom willing. The news we get in the States is, yeah, 100%. I look, the news is always, I mean, look, I'm not sitting here. This is not a bash against Israel. I don't want to do that. I'm just saying I've become more open-minded since COVID. Let's just put it this way. Do you not remember what Israel was trying to pass to the parliament? It got shot down. Do you not know that, Liberty? Do you not know what Israel is trying to pass in the parliament? That did get shot down, but the fact that it was even proposed, I hope you know, the proselytizing on behalf of Jesus was going to be illegal in Israel. All right. Let's keep going. I find that shocking. And it wasn't just like some crazy AOC proposing something like that. It was legitimate Israelis that we fund with our money. We shouldn't be doing that. John, we already talked about that. Right on. All right, cool. Now, right on, Jeremy. All right, so Jeremy's crushing. He's going to do some fireworks. All right, dude. All right, so let's go here. Okay, let's go. So Pulverizer has given me the permission to move forward. All right, so capes around the world. Can y'all see this? Let me see if I can make it bigger. All right, so this is from my man Med Faber, the Idea Farm. And I'm a big fan. Med Faber, I like what he does. I don't listen to podcasts on this stuff anymore, but I do like to read what they have. So this is interesting. So I read this article with GMO, and GMO has been negative for freaking decades now. You can make it your mind. Literally, they can't decide if they. It's like at some point they're just negative because they cannot change now. They have to say we've been negative on the markets for so long. We have to keep at it, or else people are going to think we're just bandwagon jumpers. So anyway, GMO has been negative. That's Jeremy Grantham's group of green tyrants, essentially. He looks back at his 10-year calls ago that profit margins would normalize, which turned out to be incorrect, and he looks at valuations. All right, right here. So capes around the world. So remember, capes is a cyclically adjusted PE ratio. Cyclically adjusted PE ratio is the cape. All right. So what happened was, all right, in the old days, we had the price earnings ratio as a way to say if stocks are highly valued or not. And if you had a PE ratio based above 20, that was considered a highly valued stock. And value doesn't mean it had good opportunity, it just meant it was expensive. It's probably a better way to look at it. So a PE at 20 was historically high, which meant it was expensive. A PE below 10 was historically low, which meant it was cheap. All right, so we look at price earnings ratios. What we've done in the past, we said the lower the PE, the better the prospects are for future growth. I hope that makes sense. So if you're starting your investment model with a price earnings ratio that's down here, you have much more upside than if you're starting with a PE up here because you're so high valuated right now. Because remember, price earnings is just, the Grantham report is right, Jill. Price to earnings is just basically saying what's the price I'm paying, the stock price I'm paying for $1 of earnings. That's what PE ratios are. The stock price I'm paying for $1 of earnings. And so basically what happened is, with the PEs were elevated for a long time. And one of the reasons was, well, because of a stock buybacks, maybe. And I don't think so. Actually, it was elevated for a long time because the interest rates were so low. So basically what Robert Shiller did from Yale, he said, we're going to do a cyclically adjusted PE ratio because we want to get rid of the insane volatility of the price earnings. You can't really see that, can you? The PE, we want to get rid of the volatility, I don't do it either, but either you can say, of any given year on price earnings ratios. So like in 1982, the PE was 8, right? In 1999, the PE is like 40. So what Silver is trying to do is basically average price earnings ratios over 10 years, the previous 10 years. So that's what CAPE is, cyclically adjusted PE ratio. So everybody and their mom was looking at PE ratios, the CAPE, literally for the last 15 years, and is saying it's elevated. It's way higher than it historically has been. So here's the CAPE. Here's the average historically. It's like this. And for years and years and years and years, people have been saying, oh, it's got to come down, it's got to come down, it's got to come down. Because it's, if we looked at the past, and where Shiller made his name was calling the market in 2000. He had published his book, Irrational Exuberance. He published it like in March of 2000. And the thing is, still to this day, I find ironic. He'd been working on that book for at least a couple of years previous to that. He just happened to publish it that coincided when the market hit his high. March of 2000, the market hit his high. And then it crashed, you know what I'm saying, for the next, basically till the Q1 of 2003. And everyone said, wow, Shiller knows what he's talking about. And then we did this back testing on cyclically adjusted price earnings ratios. We say, look, every time CAPE is above its averages, the market will go down. I hope this makes sense, because this is huge, man. Every single time they took the CAPE and they back tested on previous years and said, thus, a high CAPE is indicative of a market crash. And that worked until it didn't. We've had elevated CAPEs literally since 2009 now, way highly elevated. Now it's not even close. I'm going to show you this book. I showed you guys this before. My man Ed East, I think it's Easterling up here. Yeah, Ed Easterling, right here. And this book was published in 2011, I think. Hold on a second. 2010. And I remember, and so I was reading this. I got lots of things on this, and you see all kinds of highlights and stuff. And Easterling's contention was that, again, the cyclically high PE ratio, price to earnings ratio. Let's get this guy out of here, dude. If you're not going to contribute anything, I don't want you here. So we're gonna get rid of you. So if the cyclically high price earnings PE ratio, the CAPE, is higher, at some point we're going to go down. And this is what Easterling was saying back in 2010. I remember reading this in 2011, thinking for sure he's right, because history proved that. Well, the problem, it proves it until it doesn't prove it, if that makes sense. All right. So basically, what happened was he was wrong, and it hasn't proven it. So then what happened was Shiller said, well, we got to modify the CAPE, because the reason why the CAPE is so highly elevated is because bond rates are so low. So now you start modifying this, kind of like the French FAMA 3-factor portfolio. So back in the old days, DFA, Dimensional Fund Advisors, this is before they existed, but there's a couple of economists. Did FAMA win the Nobel Prize? I think he might have. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The French factor, they had a 3-model portfolio. They said historically, small cap value stocks did best. And the reason was because they're low price to book, higher dividend yields, and low price earnings. And so we had a 3-factor portfolio. Now we got a 4-factor portfolio. Now we got a 5-factor portfolio. It works until it doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say here. So now we look at what my man right here, that's the history of the, we're not talking Case Shiller. Case Shiller is something completely different, dude. Come on. Case Shiller is something different. We're talking Shiller's CAPE. All right. Case Shiller's for real estate. What? All right. So we're talking about Shiller's. Oh, can you guys make up your mind? We're talking about Shiller's CAPE, not Case Shiller. I'm sure I was. I hope I was making that clear. We're talking about the CAPE. CAPE, not case. All right, so anyway, let's keep going. So now we see right here, the U.S. has had an elevated high CAPE going back to right about here relative to Japan, and way high since basically 2011. So they've had an elevated CAPE since 2011. All right, so what does that mean? So a lot of people are making this assumption that means that international stocks have more upside than domestic stocks. You're hearing this a lot. I challenge. I don't know. We don't know. But I just, when we see this right here, that capes around the world, the U.S. has been elevated relative to Japan for many years and relative against Europe and emerging markets for many years. All right. So let's keep going. So here we got the PE. The price earnings ratio for U.S. value is well below U.S. growth. And again, some people say that gives you a sign that value should outperform growth. I tend to disagree. This may be true, but the point about value stocks is value stocks are notorious for having low PE ratios relative to growth. So I see a chart like that where people are saying, "Oh my goodness, look, growth stocks are much highly valued and have a higher PE than value stocks. Thus, the opportunities in value." No, because the point about value stocks is they have a low PE to begin with. I can't stress this enough. A value stock has a low PE, a low price to book, and a high dividend yield. A growth stock doesn't even, a lot of growth stocks don't even have dividend yields. So seeing this right here doesn't jump out at me. But when I was talking about value versus growth, I was talking about right there. 50 was a PE for growth. 25 was the PE for value. That's a 2-to-1 difference. And I was telling people, load up on BTV. You might remember that. I was telling people to do that. Load up on BTV. Load up on BTV. Load up on BTV. Or Wellington. I don't say that about Wellington anymore, but certainly value stocks, because it's blindingly obvious that the value stocks had more upside than growth because the price earnings ratio is just so distorted. Right now, that's still a pretty big thing there. And I still believe value stocks more than growth stocks because I still don't like a PE above 30, frankly. All right. I don't like that. And I'm going to share with you some other data of why I don't like that. So I still like value stocks more than growth. And I like dividends. And really, growth stocks don't really have much of a dividend. So the point being is that value stocks still look like the opportunity to me. However, it's not the opportunity solely because the value stocks have a lower price to earnings ratio than growth. Oh man, fireworks were a dud, Jeremy? What happened? Oh man, Jeremy went to light fireworks. He said they're a dud. So anyway, don't get caught up. I'm telling you. So here, this is obvious right there. Value was a bigger value than growth by far in the late 90s. I mean, anyone can see that. All right, now here, when they change sides, that's a growth opportunity. When growth has a PE ratio lower than value, growth is the way to go. And then, but basically for the last 15 years or so has been growth. So, but when these guys change, that's when you want to reposition. Now, frankly, should you do that? No, you should just buy the index and be done with it. But at the end of the day, the index is what is this is the drawback about the index is cap weighted. So that the largest constituents generate the basically the higher the return or the more the loss. Because what happens in an index, because it's cap weighted, is that as the bigger piece of the pie become bigger, more representative of the S&P 500 or VTI. And so now we got more and more Apple and Microsoft and these companies become bigger and bigger components of the S&P 500 because they are growth-oriented stocks that are bigger weighted. And that's always a concern because that's great when the market's going up. It's bad when the markets go down. All right. And let's keep going here because I think this stuff's pretty interesting. We're going to go here. I don't care about macro uncertainty. I was going to show you something else here, though, right here. Check this out. Check this out. Apple is now bigger than the entire market capitalization of the Russell 2000. Now, this rings like, ooh, there's opportunity in small cap stocks. So, for instance, if all you have is the S&P 500, you don't have small cap stocks. You got mid cap, but you don't have small cap. VTI, a third of VTI is the extended market index, which what that means is about 30%. So if the VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Index, or VTSMX, however you want to choose it, but VTI, a third of that, 30%, is for what's called the extended market 4,500. All right, so do you take the Wilshire 5,000? That's the entire index. 500 of the Wilshire 5,000 is the S&P 500. The extended market is the 4,500 that don't follow the S&P 500. All right, so if you have the S&P 500, you got 500 stocks, essentially biggest by market capitalization. All these other 4,500, you don't. This is why I always say VTI as opposed to just S&P 500. because that will give you exposure to small and mid cap stocks that you don't have right now. And then we look at this chart right here. We say one company is now bigger than the entire Russell 2000, which is exclusively small caps, not really mid caps in there. Isn't that crazy? It's also bigger than the entire market cap of the Toronto Stock Exchange. I mean, that's nuts. So you're saying to yourself, huh? So here's the factor you got to think about: momentum and trends, as Med Favor talks about all the time. There is lots of data that says momentum and trends follow each other. It's almost like a hot shooter. All these economists say there's a hot shooter fallacy. You feed it to freaking Jimmy Butler, just because he hit his last three doesn't mean he's going to hit his next one. Well, maybe, but a lot of coaches believe that there's a hot shooter thing, and economists will say it's a fallacy. I don't know if I believe that. Same thing. A lot of I'll have my book here, right here. Random Walk Down Wall Street, right here. A lot of economists will say it's a random walk. That what happened yesterday has no impact on the markets today. I don't agree with that at all, actually. And I'm not saying Malkiel is actually explicitly stating that. A lot of people have taken his words probably out of his mouth to say, "Oh no, the market is independent. Its activity today is independent of what it was yesterday." That's just not true, man. I mean, because what is the market? For heaven's sake, the market is human beings. Human beings. Human beings don't forget what happened yesterday. They just don't. This is what's always drives me up the wall, as if the market is this secondary source of information. It's all human beings based, man. Human beings based. Crazy. All right, so let's keep going. Because this, but anyway, so Apple in of itself, does that mean you should sell it? I'm not saying that in the least. I don't have no clue at all. But I'm just telling you, that tells me, if anything else, you better have some small cap stocks, because small cap stocks are, I don't want to say undervalued, but they become less of a, less pervasive in the overall investing economy, because everyone's been focused on the big guys as opposed to smaller companies. All right, let's keep going. So this is pretty interesting. High PE stocks, we just talked about this, beat low PE stocks by more in the 10 years to 2010 than the 10 years to the peak.com. Ooh. All right, so the Nifty 50 right here, look at the high PE stocks. They smoked the low PE stocks. The dot-com bubble, high PE stocks smoked the low PE stocks right here. Look at that. Now, that's as of 2020. Now, we've come back a lot, like I was just telling you right here, this right here. So it's given up a lot of gains now. So while that seems interesting, it's not interesting anymore, because here we are now. Up here, you would say, yeah, I need to get out of that. Oh, the Nifty 50 is actually high. Nifty 50, that's weird. I thought the Nifty 50 would have smoked. I don't know if I believe that, actually. No, anyway, whatever. It just seems weird to me. That the high PE stocks were still below the value, low PE stocks, even like 1973. I don't know if I buy that, because the high PE stocks, I mean, we're talking PE ratios like 80. McDonald's had a PE ratio of 80. I don't have it right here. It's crazy. Anyway, be that as it may. But look at that. High PE stocks outperformed 10-year annualized outperformance to 6.2% above on average value stocks, low PE. You'd want to sell here. Now it's back to not quite par like where it should be, but we're getting there. We're pretty close. Again, I still favor value stocks 100%. I still think there is opportunity in small cap values for sure. All right, let's keep going. I don't care about that. Right here, there are more realtors in the country than there are single family homes available for sale. Eesh. I know a bunch of realtors. That concerns me greatly. Think about it. There are more realtors in the country than there are homes available for sale. Yeah. Let's see what else. About 2/3 of primary mortgages, are most of which are 30-year fixed, have an interest rate below 4%, which is why people aren't selling. Because, like, dude, I get a mortgage at 3.5. I got to turn around to sell. I got to turn around and get a mortgage at 7. That's why it's not a huge opportunity for. That's why there's not a huge. 1 second. What happened? Oh, Jeremy Industry. That's why there's not a huge opportunity for homes right now on the market, because there's people. I don't want to get rid of my 3.5% mortgage. Now that will start falling off as the time goes. New York City's vacant office space could fill 26.5 Empire State Buildings. Does anyone want to be in New York? I would. It's crazy. All right. So that's Med Favor. I want to keep going on this because he's got some other good stuff in here too, which I want to share with you right here. Yeah, right here. Let's keep going. My wife just gave me a thumbs up on it. Yeah, huge shortage of real estate inventory right now. It's crazy, man. It's nuts. How come no one ever has stories about the market kicking their butt? Much like when people only, no one has stories. Oh, dude, are you new to this channel, Kenneth? Huh? Dude, come on. You got to be new here, right? Because I've only said a million times how the market's kicked my butt. Primarily, when I was selling options, covered calls, and then of course I sold my Exxon. I took I had to double my rate of return, and on top of that, I turned around, sold it, and I bought UGI, which quickly went down 50%. So I was right back to even. Whereas ExxonMobil went up another 100%. So not only is it like almost like a 4-point play. Not only did I did the other team, not only did I have the ball and I missed a jump shot, the other team got the rebound and they had an easy layup on the other end. It's a 4-point play. Do I think small? Yeah, no, I don't know, my man. Look at that puppy. So the question is, do I think small cap will outperform large in the next 10 years? I have no clue, but that's why you want to VTI as opposed to, in my opinion, I don't know you, and if you're more comfortable being large cap, I get it. But the issue is that we have an opportunity in small caps that we haven't seen for a while. And I would just diversify to VTI. So remember, again, you're still going to be predominantly in large cap stocks and VTI. But again, I don't know anything about your circumstance. Do not take us as advice. But if you have a consolidation all in large caps, and large caps have just smoked everything for the last 10 to 15 years, there always is a change. You know what I'm saying? We call it, as if I'm an investment guy, a regime change where things change, is cyclical adjustments and things like that nature. So I would be more comfortable in having a 401k growth rate at 2.5%, at 5% CDs over the last 3 months. We had a person on here screeching that she could get 5% 5-year CDs. And I said, I'd love to see that, sister, because I ain't seen those anywhere. 5-year CDs, and all those are callable. I haven't seen any 5-year 5% CDs with a non-callable feature. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, 100%. New York City was like my man Ski Champ, good looking guy. Until under Giuliani, until blows. It was actually, but it was Bloomberg too. Don't let Bloomberg off the hook, man. You know what I'm saying? Bloomberg was part of that. Bloomberg was the transition phase from the more authoritative, stop and frisk move of Giuliani. He kind of played footsie with that, but he was going more to the liberal side. And then De Blasio just screwed it all up. I escaped to Denver now. 100%. Where do you go now? That's the problem, dude. Now you got to escape to like Tennessee or Alabama or freaking, don't go to Texas. I mean, my goodness, their governor sucks, as you can see with what they're doing with the Ken Paxton issue. I'm just goofing Texas. My daughter right now is in Texas in an internship, so I like Texas, but I'll never move there. I just don't trust Greg Abbott. Again, COVID opened the eyes for anyone who wanted to see of how bad the supposed right wing was. Abbott went along for the ride. I can't believe that. I mean, he went along for the ride. Does people not remember the county sheriff going down and friggin' busting these people for going to a bar? And they had ATV or APCs, armored personnel carriers, and the sheriff's deputies. One guy must have been 500 pounds. It was embarrassing. And Abbott didn't do anything. I mean, at some point, the governor has got the bully pulpit say, we're not going to have this. We're not going to have armored personnel vehicles going from the military, going down to a lady, a freaking trailer who's having to keep her bar open so she can make enough money to pay her bills by selling beer to local citizens. You can't have that. That's freaking disgusting behavior. And Abbott did nothing. So he can kiss my big fat behind too. Abbott, Ducey, he's no more. I get that. Why do we have crazy Katie Hobbs? Because Ducey didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is the point. The rhinos are just, look, the Democrats are evil, but the rhinos are accessories, is that the right word, of evil, because they allow this stuff to happen too. The freaking idiot in Abbott sponsored by WEF. Shocking that Abbott is sponsored by the World Economic Forum. I imagine my own governor here, Brian Kemp, is too. But we had Ducey, we had Abbott, the stupid idiot K something in Alabama. Normal people get the vax. Oh, so I guess the unnormal, if you're not getting vax, isn't that? I thought we couldn't other people. Man, that's what the libs say. Don't other us. Why, dude, Pulver, I know all this, but I get it. I know Pulverizer, you and I think a lot alike, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, which we did not when I first started this. So you should take a W when you can. However, at the end of the day, it's cathartic to also think that your vote actually has a chance to make a difference. And still, I think it kind of does in the localities, pushing things against your school board districts, your local sheriff, your state rep, kind of, sort of, but certainly local localities that can make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Your local, DA and whatnot. Not here in Fulton County, where I'm at in Georgia, but if you go to a county, Gilmer County or something like that, your vote can matter there. Now, will it matter Trump versus Biden? To some degree it will. They got to keep us. They got to keep the sheep at odds. You know what I'm saying? So they'll give a couple bones to Republicans on occasion, so we continue to play the game. I fall for it. 100%. You're gonna hear me going back and forth between Trump and Shiva, Dr. Shiva. I just can't have DeSantis. DeSantis is a plant, dude. There's no other way around that. Now, look, the sad thing is, DeSantis, we used to call on the Rush Limbaugh show when he was running for governor, and Rush loved DeSantis. You know what I'm saying? And I've always respected Rush, I like DeSantis. I don't hate the guy or anything like that, but he's a plant. He's a plant just to seem, hey, look, we can get the right wing to take a couple W's while we're steamrolling them all over the place. I get it. Anyway, they're all the same. They just think the rule. Yeah, 100%. They're all the same. I completely agree. Yeah, Texas also has a big, huge energy issues. 100%. Ducey is more than complicit, exactly. And see, that's the thing, Jill. A lot of Republicans, though. Where's my man, Liberty 1776? Nice guy, but he's where I was 5 years ago. He was, and I got no qualm with Liberty 1776, none whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? There's another guy on here, JJG. He's where I was 5 years ago too, and they're nice people. They mean well. I was there, and I'm not, because COVID opened my eyes, and COVID did not open a lot of people's eyes. Unfortunately, a lot of people still think COVID was a left versus right issue, and just wasn't. It was far, far, far from that. And they I'm not saying they refuse to see, but I think they still want to believe. You know what I'm saying? They still want to believe that we can make a difference, and I just don't think you can. And as such, in terms of the national political thing, now that doesn't mean you don't vote. Voting's cathartic. I just don't think it matters. I don't. And if Trump wins, will we be better off than if he lost? Of course we will. If DeSantis wins, I say wins because selected, not elected. Will we be better off than if he didn't? Of course. So we still want to root for these guys, but to be where I was in 2004, and this is what I was talking about my local channel the other day, the last stream. I was active in the Rockham County, Virginia Republican Party. I was like, I was volunteer, but I had exposure to. I just put it this way, very active, no other way around that. And I had the database and mailing list. I had a lot of responsibility for the Republican Party, getting out there, and the chairman of the Republican Party, I go see him every day. And he owned a print shop on Route 11 in Harrisonburg. And every day his name's Mike. And he lived in Elkton. I live in Dayton. And every day we go and kind of talk strategy and whatnot. And I was big on the Republican Party, man. I thought the Republican Party with George W. Bush was going to save us all. Get those guys over there before they come over here and whatnot. And I realized it's all a crock of crap. I fell for the Patriot Act so that Obama could make the Patriot Act be used against us. I fell for it. I'm so ashamed and embarrassed by this. I fell for it. I fell for the TSA, the Department of Homeland Security, all that crap. I fell for it so we can get those guys over there before they come over here. And I had no clue that 4 to 5 years later, it'd totally be turned on us. That's crazy. Let's keep going on this because it's. I don't want to piss off Pulverizer and say, stay on topic, Scanlon. All right. Here's my man John Boy. Again, we're going to another Med Favor. I love Idea Farm. Every week I get this. I'm just a big fan. You should subscribe to Med Favor stuff. He doesn't know who I am. I don't have any relationship with Med Favor, but big fan, long time. We deceive ourselves when we believe that past stock market return patterns provide the bounds which we can predict the future. I actually 100% agree with that. And that's the issue that I have with all this stuff is just because it did something in the past, and you can actually say our predictions from the past prove correctly, it works until it doesn't. I was reading an article today is on Kits's website is I'm not gonna go find it about Monte Carlo. Let's see if I can. I'm not gonna find it. Anyway, so on Kits's, I like Kits's website. I like Derek Tharp. I think they do good work. But the issue that they were writing about is Kitsis. It wasn't Kitsis, but it was on his website. The Nerd's Eye View is Derek Tharp and another guy, and they're writing about these Monte Carlo ways, using 4 different methods to run Monte Carlos and regime change. And that sounds like taking out Saddam Hussein, but it's just basically an advisor thinks that the interest rates are too low for too long, whatever, and you can change your perspective. And if you would have done that, your results would have been better for your clients in Monte Carlo relative to if you just kept the traditional Monte Carlo. DeSantis, Romney, McCain, maturing. We lack of free government money. Okay, right on. Yeah. Carson says lack of free government money to spend or actually having to work. Carson, how's your farming going, by the way, brother? What's going on up there? How's everything going with your farm? Carson went up to, I'm probably going to share, Tennessee. And he and his better half are crushing, trying to raise their own, which is good. Anyway, so it works until it doesn't, if that makes sense. And I was surprised. I was they were running these analysis on Monte Carlos, and they're saying if this methodology worked better than these other 3 methodologies. I'm like, yeah, it did until it doesn't. Because you're basically trying to cherry pick the past and put this data like Cape. We're going to take this data set. We're going to put it in the past, and if that worked better than the others, we're going to assume this is better for the future. And you just don't know. Anyway, so Bogle gets it. Right here. I want to show you right here. Right, I want to do it in a second. I thought this was interesting. In 1970, the box seats at Yankee Stadium cost an inflation-adjusted $26 in 2019 dollars. The same ticket cost $300 in 2019. More than 11 times as much. All right, that's adjusted for inflation. That's in real dollars. So it cost 11 times more to go see a baseball game at Yankee Stadium than it did in 1970, the year of my birth. Why? Because the government got involved in financing these stadiums. There's no other way around that. When the government gets involved, things get more expensive. You should read my book. I talk about that. Healthcare. Why is healthcare more expensive? Because the government's more involved. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it is. When the government gets involved in the financing of stadiums, things become more expensive. And I think even now the major league sports teams even have antitrust exemptions. I don't think they had those back in the past. Now, with that said, we also have free agency as well now. Curt Flood. So the players actually get paid. They're not literally indentured servants. So that's a good thing. 100%. So you have a more open market for labor in professional sports, but you also have a more fascist market for the markets or for a stadium building, a government public-private entity, and that's going to make things more expensive. I thought that was interesting. But check this out too. The median salary of the Major League Baseball players was twice that for employed males in 1964. By 2019, it was 27 times the median. The median salary was 2 times that for the average working male in 1964. Now it's 27 times. Well, that's because of there was no free market for labor in Major League Baseball back then. You signed a contract and you could not, there's no free agency or anything like that. And as such, the owners made it and kept all the money. And just real quick, a lot of people have this idea, that is so much better in the 50s and stuff. The MAGA, and I'm not saying MAGA specific to Trump, but as if the older days were better. They just weren't, dude. I mean, that doesn't mean they're better now or they're like, well, it's better now. It's just, there's a lot of things that have changed over the last 50 years that were better now than they were back then. Just a fact, man. And I hate when I hear, oh, back in the old days, we all had pensions. People have no clue. I was talking to this guy today, one of my clients. we did our annual review. And so this guy I haven't spoke to 2 years. So if you're a client of mine, if you want to do an annual review, it doesn't have to be every year. It could be every 2 years, every 4 years, every year. It doesn't matter. But anyway, the point being was we're doing our annual review, and he didn't have a pension. And I said, it's crazy because back in the old days, people literally had to stay at a company for 30 years to get a pension. You could not leave or else you sacrifice your pension. So no matter what the company was doing, you had to abide by it. All right. On top of that, what they'd also do is if you're 2 years away from your pension, it's 18 months, a year, they'd let your ass go. They say, yeah, it's been good having you here, Bob, but we're going to do cutbacks. Because my guy asked me, hey, yeah, he said, run some numbers in case I get laid off. I said, you think it's likely? It's not really a 10% chance, but you don't know. It's okay. And he has some restricted stock units and whatnot. And so I said, what happens to RSUs? He goes, they're null and void. I said, whoa. So there's an incentive for the company to lay you off, essentially, because he had a sizable restricted stock units. And I said, man, so they can just let you go and they don't have to provide a severance. They put you on Cobra and you're freaking, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of creepy. And that's what used to happen with pensions too, all the time. Hey, Frank, yeah, I appreciate you busting your butt for 29 and 8 months, but we're going to let you go. And you're like, wait a second. If I had another 4 months, I get my pension. No, but you got to be here 30 years or we're going to let you go. And that happened. And all these people, it was better back then. We all had pensions. It's idiotic. No, we did not. All right, let's keep going. My man Kenneth, right here, says, I was disappointed in politicians during COVID. I was disappointed. Yeah, one of them said, oh, look at Kenneth. All right, Kenneth is stepping up. All right, Kenneth, that's hard on you. So you're back. You're back in my good graces, Kenneth. I bless you, sir. Good stuff, man. 100%. I was disappointed. 100%. I expected more from politicians. I expected more from American people, especially like punk rockers, dude. Like, I've always liked hardcore metal and punk rock, and hearing these punk rock guys who used to, bash Ronald Reagan, rock against racism, all this stuff. Just hearing these guys just capitulate, it's like, man, you guys are freaking, you suck. Just a bunch of lefty clowns, man. You suck. And then they had the right wing punk rock, oi bands and some hardcore bands used to have rock against communism, which was great, but there wasn't very many of those bands that would do that. But there was a few back in the 80s, and then they became lesser and lesser as the grunge movement kicked in, and idiot bands like Green Day and horrible Nirvana, and Alice in Chains, horrible bands. I never understood the appeal of these bands, dude. Green Day, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. I just want to take this 100-pound anvil and drop it on my head and crack my freaking brains out and let them bleed all over the floor for Finney to lick up. Because why do people like this stuff? It's horrible. But anyway, so then they all became lefties. And Kurt Cobain, to his credit, he was telling you if you didn't like gay marriage, get out of his concerts. This is like in the early 90s. I remember that. I was like, man, this guy's taking a stand on behalf of that. I credit him, man. I mean, I disagreed with it. But at the end of the day, he took a stand against it when no one else was doing it. I always thought that was gutsy. Don't forget, that was back in the day when Clinton was adamant. Defense of Marriage Act. That's Clinton signed that, by the way. Just remember that. AIC. Oh, what band was that? Alice in Chains. Oh, dude, you guys like a horrible band. Well, who kicked the drummer out because he went in the back? So I was listening to my man from the Deftones. All right, and I love I don't let the Deftones don't do much for me. I like the fact they get a guy in there who's completely anti-vax, that when they toured Europe, he didn't go. And when they toured Canada, he didn't go. They had a replacement. I was listening to him being interviewed by Flat Earther, actually. It's kind of funny. And I enjoyed that conversation very much because he's saying, I'm not getting the vax. And so when the Deftones went to play in various places where they mandated, he was like my man Jokey and Nicholas, Nick, you know what I'm talking about, Djokovic. The Offspring sucks. Doug says noise pollution. What do you like, Doug? The U.S. hands. Everyone had a hands. No, dude. No, are you kidding me, Denise? Everyone had a participant hands across America. Ugh. Ugh, creepy. The U.S. government contributed 11% annually to defined benefit pensions, so 6% likely saved your company money. I don't get what you're saying. I'm not following that. I'm confused. Baseball had the exemption long ago. Gotcha. We got extra 2% restaurant county tax for the Colts Stadium, and we're still paying for it today. And kind of like here, they had the Georgia Dome. Remember the Georgia Dome was all down a bag of chips? Then all of a sudden the Georgia Dome is too old. Now we got the Mercedes-Benz. All right, so Somerville, Georgia, tripled. So here's my man Carson on Rumble. They got triple the chickens. So wife adopted 3 kittens. Garden's growing great. Got getting 2 piglets. God is awesome. That's what I'm saying, man. My man Idjit says you could easily support a whole family on one income. Nearly impossible now for the average family. No, it's not. I mean, you're gonna have to watch your spending. But I mean, we've had one income for my wife and me for many, many moves. Well, you're making money. We weren't always making money. That's why I worked 2 jobs, binding books at R.R. Donnelley at night. I was working as a branch manager during the day. We weren't making money, and my wife took a part-time job as a bank teller. And I look back in those days fondly. But I will say, at the end of the day, those were scary times. Not gonna lie to you. But we had a nice little 3-bed, a 1-bath ranch on 1,200 square foot on 4/10 of an acre in Dayton, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? We had an old Toyota Tercel, 1992 Toyota Tercel, and then we bought a Dodge. Well, a Caravan. I don't think it was a Grand. Was it a Grand Caravan? I can't remember. Some guy was selling it on the road. We just had to sign out there on off 42 and from Harrisonburg. We checked out, paid $7,000 cash for it. So we had an old 99 Dodge Grand Caravan and a 1992 Toyota Tercel. And we weren't making money. And I remember like it was yesterday when George Bush had those tax refunds. Dude, we needed the money, man. We needed the money, and we made it. People make it. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Right on, Douglas. When Dave Winfield signed with the Yankees. Yep, yeah, I remember that. And then they also had Fred Lynn going from the Angels to the Red Sox. Have Bat Will Travel in the Sports Illustrated. I remember that. Have Bat Will Travel. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I find it funny that they're cutting spending relative to their massive spending hikes in COVID. This is where Republicans always get played. They're cutting spending relative to after we increase spending by exorbitant amounts after COVID. So we're cutting it back by a little bit. It's like, the Democrats 3 steps forward, they give 1 step and they're saying we're cutting it. This is where the baseline budgeting and all that works. Like the baseline jumps from 100 to 120, a 20% increase in baseline. And then it increases from 120 to 121, but they want to increase to 122. So the fact it increased to 121 instead of 122, it's spending cuts. It's such a freaking clown show. If the company replaced their time bet for the 401k and contribute, I don't get this. I don't get the 11% contributions from the government. All rock and rollers are left. That's not hard. That's not. I wouldn't say all. You can't say that, man. I'm a diehard rocker since the 70s. After stand, they're all left blamers, at least. John Lennon became, yeah, what I'm saying, John Lennon. I actually, you'll love this channel. Who said that, Mike? If you want to get some good, we call it gravy in the conspiracy theory realm, I'm going to show you a great channel you're going to want to watch. And it doesn't do that much for me because I don't like the Beatles, but you'll like this. I'm going to show it to you here in just a second. What's going on in the Celtics game? I heard my wife just say nice. I don't want to watch. Yeah, man, Sage. So if you want some conspiracies on the Beatles, watch this guy's channel, Sage of Quay. I think his name is Mike. I almost want to say Mike Williams. All right, right here. Sage of Quay. Yeah, Mike Williams, that's his name. Supernatural Beatles whisper messages from the right here. Oh man, my man Mark Devlin. Oh, Mark Devlin kicks ass here too. Hey, the Beatles. Anyway, so his whole premise is that the the Beatles were were basically planted. I thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, I gotta show you guys a picture. Oh, Pablo, yeah. Leisure. Look at, see, this is what right here. You got 89 Tercel. We call them Turkle. I had a 1984 Toyota Tercel hatchback. I called her Betsy. I'd still be driving that thing today if I didn't get hit with a deer coming back from Rochester. We went to go see Nuclear Assault in Rochester, New York, and it got back, coming back from seeing that show, and a deer on 81 going back to Watertown, New York, to go back to the Army when I was in the Army. So Nuclear Assault in Rochester, New York, or Suicidal Tendencies in Rochester, New York. Maybe it was Nuclear Assault in Syracuse. I can't remember. We were going to see this metal band. Maybe it was Suicidal Tendencies that we saw in Rochester that year. I forgot. It was in 92, 91. And I love that car, man. 4-speed, 5-speed? I can't remember. Stick is great as a freaking beast. Is talking about an armored personnel carrier is awesome. Then we got hit by a deer coming back. Totaled my car. It sucked. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, look at my man Freedom. He's been a one income family his whole life. Exactly. People get used to, though, Freedom Willing. People get used to that double income. I'm telling you, they get addicted to it. It's almost like we're told to have two people working if you want to live. That's what we've been told. It's like they've been pushing us propaganda like, you can't survive on one income alone. We're the government. Trust us. We'd never lie. You know what I'm saying? Ted leftist? No, I didn't say Ted. No, Ted Nugent's not a lefty. Dude, Ted Nugent crushes. Yeah, look at Carson. Started to sell eggs, and guy dropped by, told me I have small farm intensive that drops taxes on food, fuel, and fun gardening stuff. Never know, man. I was looking for a local farm store, just a farm stand here the other day, Carson, but I couldn't find him actually. So I was like, here. All right, let's keep reading here. All right. Right here. There's too much going on here. Right, that's what I meant to say. Small caps are cheaper relative to large caps, and they've been since the 1990s. That's what I want to show you guys. Small caps cheaper relative to large caps in terms of PE ratio than they've been since the 1990s. See, what does that mean? Does that mean small caps are definitively going to go kicking ass and taking names? I can't say that. But I tell you, man, that shows you got to be diverse. Did you read Ted White? I did not. I did not read Ted White and Blue. No. But I do love. I said score. My wife says 41-52. What does that mean? Ooh. And she gives me a sleeping face, like they're bored. Ah, what? Oh boy. Ooh. My son's gonna be devastated. See, that's the thing. The difference between Liam and me. Liam's had 4 Game 7s that the Celtics have won. All right, since he's been paying attention to basketball. Your old buddy Josh. When the Bruins go to Game 7, do they ever win? No, they never win. Never win. If the Bruins are up 3-1, do they win the series? No, they never win. The Bruins are up 3-2, they win the series? No, they never win. The Bruins got a freaking Stanley Cup final, Game 7 at home against the St. Louis Blues. Do they win? No, because Brad Marchand gets off the ice with 4 seconds left to give a goal for St. Louis Blues in the first period, with 4 seconds left. No, they never win. Never, ever, ever. The Bruins go out 3-0 against Philadelphia Flyers. They win, and they're up 3-0 Game 7 at home. Do they win in the second period? No, they can't. They don't win. Bruins are up 3-1 against Florida. In Game 7, they're up 3-2 with a minute left to win. And that Game 7 at home, they win? No. But if you're a Celtics fan, all you got to do is freaking spit on the floor and you know the Celtics are going to win. It's crazy. What's that about? Why do the Bruins suck and the Celtics always win? Anyway, so he doesn't know what it's like. I told him. There's another guy, my man Turtle Boy. He's predicting the Celtics lose. I said, spoken like a true Boston sports fan. Of course, all these young whippersnappers say, Boston, you have had a run for 20 years like no one's ever seen. Yeah, but before that, dude, before that, it was bad. You guys don't understand, man. Before that, it was bad. Wango Tango, right on. Hey, Beverly and I are planning on selling the Saturday's Farmers Market locally. That's freaking awesome, Carson. Dude, wait, you're in Somerville, Georgia? I'm about to go up there. For a text or email me where's it going to be at, Carson. I might take a gander up to Somerville, Georgia, and check out the farmers market. It's freaking awesome. Oh, look at my man, Matt. Oh, right here. I'm right, Josh. All right, so of course this guy gets my appreciation because he's acknowledging something that freaking Pulverizer doesn't acknowledge, that I'm right. He says, regarding RSUs, company can lay me off prior to age 65 and cheat me of all uninvested shares, just like the old pensions, 100%. Yeah, right here. I've been a one income family my whole life. My wife's job is taking care of the house and kids. Wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, me either, dude, 100%. Now, again, Charlotte's taking a part time job on occasion. I've taken second jobs on occasion, but Great White Buffalo. I always said there's a few righties out there, not many. That's a fact. I like five for Titan. No, is it five for fighting? I think he's his kind of music doesn't do all that much to me, but I like the fact he's not lefty. And then 5 times August. I like both those bands just because they're not lefties. It's just so easy to be a. Carson says his wife made the most awesome oatmeal cookies today. All right, so exactly. All right, so here's the question: if Carson's going to get banned or not. Kraken Eggs tweet said, "Did they have raisins?" All right, so remember, Carson is saying his wife made the most awesome oatmeal cookies today. Such a great wife. All right, that could be a strike in his favor or a strike a ball or a strike against him, depending on the answer to the next question. Did they have raisins? Did they have raisins? Gene Simmons isn't a righty. Gene Simmons is a lefty, dude. He's big time left because he said wanted the freaking mandates on the jab. So if you got into mandates on the jab, you're not a righty at all. That's a fact. Gene Simmons can kiss my big fat behind. Gene Simmons used to be at least a capitalist, but oh. Wait, Carson, are you saying your wife made oatmeal cranberry cookies? Oh, dude, this gives me the willies just thinking about. Like, but yeah, I saw that. I know, man, it's funny. No one's bad mouthing two income. Don't just because we're saying one income. Oh, all we're saying, Andrew, is that you can do it on one income. A lot of people just refuse to acknowledge that. But just because you don't do it on one income doesn't mean you're a bad person. Keep going. Yeah, right on. Yeah, the Leafs. That's true. That's true. The Leafs. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, as I talked about before, I like value stocks. We just talked about small caps have a lot of leg room to run. So we're just talking about that. Now, relative to the performance over the last, right here, small caps as of February 2023, small caps cheaper from a PE ratio relative to large caps. The most they've been since the 1990s, amigos. The 1990s. So, that's a fact. I thought this was pretty interesting. Folks scrambled for money market funds for wealth protection in the inflationary 1970s. Invest in Chemical Bank's unlimited interest account and get 10%. And that, friends, is why folks scramble for ways to protect their assets and move out of stocks and bonds, including the advent of the retail available money market accounts in the 1970s. Even though short-term cash equivalents experienced a real drawdown of 18%, bills did better than stocks and bonds. So this is right here in 1973. Does anyone remember what happened in 1973 and 74? Anybody? Oatmeal blueberry? No raisins. No cranberries. Oh, you guys are freaking crazy. Have I ever had a night wish? I don't even know what a night wish is. Yeah, people joke about Blair Bird bleeding green instead of blue and gold in his papers. Exactly. I know it's always funny. Oh, look at Andrew. Oh, nasty. Look at friggin' Penelope. Ugh, how dare you? Yeah, but you support the jab, you lose me, man. 100%. Nightwish is a band with a chick singer. Never heard of them. But there's a, I do like chick singers. It depends. There's some metal bands that got chick singers. I like that. There's an old punk band from UK called the Violators. They had a chick singer that was just I'm big lefties. Don't get me wrong, but friggin' that band crushed. The Violators. Is a Sore Mountain. A lot of the good metal now. See, I like the stoner metal. Some would call it desert metal. Some would call it doom. I don't consider it doom metal. It's like kind of so it's like bluesy metal, but it's harder. If that it's desert. There's a band called Caius. Some would say stoner metal. I don't smoke dope, so I don't like that. But anyway, there's a lot of the best metal bands are coming from Europe nowadays. It's crazy, like Greece and stuff, and the Eastern Europeans and Poland. It's crazy, man. Anyway, so Sore Mountain's got a chick singer, and they freaking badass. I like her voice is awesome. There's another band I just listened to the other day with a chick singer too, and she was kicking ass. I forgot what it's called though. I forgot. Nightwish is a metal band from the Netherlands. Yeah. Fleetwood Mac. There's my family man. Look at this guy. So I gave the family man a little bit of 1-2 here today, but he's back. He's taking a good stride. He's taking a good stride. Because I wasn't saying he's an idiot. I was saying at the end of the day, I hope you don't think that your solar photovoltaic is going to rescue you from a grid down position. And Shania Twain, Ka-ching. The only thing, what's the Hank Williams song? Kalaya. Oh, Kalaya. Woo. You can't go wrong with Led Zeppelin. My man Sage Aquay would say they're plants too, though. But tough to beat Led Zeppelin, man. I agree. I don't lie about that. Supertramp. Let's take a look at Supertramp. You guys want to see something? Check this out. All right, right here. Check this out. This is crazy. Speaking of Supertramp. Elijah. All right, now watch this, dudes. Tell me this isn't predictive programming for what was going to happen. All right, so here's a Supertramp Breakfast in America Supertramp album on a plane. On a plane right there. I can't. Breakfast in America, like we're going to start something new in America. It's a breakfast in America, a morning in America on a plane. The World Trade Center is right there. Tell me that's not crazy. And there's something about these guys were talking about her. I forgot what it was, but that's like there's something about the orange drink right here covering that. That's kind of creepy on a plane. Do y'all see the video on YouTube about the predictive programming from Back to the Future? You see that? It's crazy, man. I guess U2 has an album that had a lot of predictive programming about 9/11 as well. I don't like U2, so I never listened to it, but I was like, damn, that's kind of coincidence, maybe, but there's definitely something to be said about that for sure. Carson, you're about this close to being banned. Was it the Logical song? Is that predictive programming from the Supertramp? There's like a song in there that's kind of predictive programming too. Carson just added to the discussing of cranberry, blueberry, oatmeal cookies and raisins with bananas too. Oh, dude, killing me. That's freaking nasty. My dad used to make banana pancakes when I was a kid. Oh. It's like, dude, can we just be a normal family? We used to have tofu because my mom's a big hippie. They both were. So tofu pizza, homemade tofu pizza. I mean, everything was homemade. Oh, but my mom would make the most crushing spaghetti sauce. And we're not even Italian. We're German and Irish. It made the most crushing spaghetti sauce you've ever had. It was freaking nuts. off of the garden. You know what I'm saying? But man, she'd make this tofu pizza. My dad would make banana pancakes, and then instead of PB and J, like PB and bananas. Like, we used to go to this thing up in Portland, Maine. This was in the '70s. It was like there is well before what's that hippie hipster store that the Amazon now owns? What the hell's that place called? Whatever. Well before that, some hippie dippy store up in Maine, Portland, Maine, with all the just to go in there and it was a bread store essentially, but they had all the fragrances and all the just organic stuff before anyone knew what organic was. I remember she would take me up there. As a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, we'd walk. We didn't have a car, so we get off the boat and we walk. And I'm thinking, all right, sweet, we're gonna get up there. I wonder if I can get a donut. Nope, no donut. It's like he'd offer me a croissant. It's like, I don't want a croissant. I want a donut. Can we just be normal for once? What was it called? The Whole Foods. It's kind of like well before Whole Foods was even thought of in Jeff Bezos's high. It was there's a place in Maine that sold all that organic crap, and you go in there and just it smells just like right now. I love it, I'm sure, but back then it's like can't just most kids get a donut, they get candy, and I get some freaking croissant. Just freaking or peanut butter and honey on whole wheat bread, tofu, and hot dog soup. Every Halloween, had hot dog soup. We have hot dog soup a lot. Liver, always had liver. Our next door neighbor is a fisherman, a lobsterman, and he'd give us some leftover lobsters that they had. And I didn't like lobster. I just wanted beef, dude. You know what I'm saying? We never had like good old fashioned beef, steak, and hamburger. You know what I'm saying? And Whole Foods, yeah, that's it. Elvis. I don't think he lived off those very long, did he? Yeah, that was kind of weird about Tommy Shaw. That's kind of creepy. I saw him. I was like, dude, that's him. Banana, buckwheat pancakes. Went off. We can all agree the '70s was, yeah, it was, dude. I mean, '70s. Look, Triumph, Rush. I mean, there's just Led Zeppelin, obviously, the Kinks, the Who. I mean, obviously, a lot of these bands were in the '60s too, but I mean, just some freaking insane bands back then. It was crazy. Liver and onions, yes, sir. That's liver and onions. Potato pancakes, nope, nope, nope. But man, every now and again, she'd make this freaking kick-ass homemade spaghetti. It was to die for. But before I go out trick or treating, I had to eat the hot dog soup. It was literally disgusting. I say, I think, Mom, I'd rather not go trick or treating if I have to eat this. It's disgusting. All right, so let's keep going and we'll get out of here. I really don't want to watch the basketball game. So I'm going to hang out. Fish chowder. I don't think we had that. 70s was the best. The 70s depends. The latter half of the 70s, no, but the earlier part of the 70s. Let me think like Foreigner. The 70s Foreigner was freaking rocking and rolling, dude. Pat Benatar is even singing a song about Pat Benatar to my kid today as we was going for a drive. Just the '70s, but just those musicians back then. I mean, so who's Jimmy Page? Was he Yardbirds? Basically from '65 until '75. Then you got like MC5. You got all these bands no one's even heard of unless you are active and searching for good old music. And the old freaking black music was insanely good too. I mean, all these guys could be rolling their graves, seeing what the hell has happened to pop. Oh, you sound like a whippersnapper. You sound like you sound like a boomer. Yeah, because your music taste sucks, dude. It's horrible. I mean, I liked a little bit of rap music in the '80s and '90s. Whatever the hell this is, it's like mumble rap. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, what the hell is that? It's insanity. And then country hip hop stuff. Like what? Then bro country. Like, I didn't like the country of the '70s. That bored the hell out of me. But some Dwight Yoakam in the '80s was fantastic. You know what I'm saying? And I just whatever this happening, it's like we've got this insanity that's taking over our world, man. No other way around that. And even a lot of the metal stuff, you're like, ugh, just horrible. I mean, just thinking about like any band, any who's that? Blue Cheer. Who's I listened to the other day? The Pentagram. Oh, that's satanic. No, it's just no. was this a Pentagram the other day? I mean, this stuff was Blue Cheer is another band I'm just thinking about. I mean, it was on my list. I just listened to. I was working out the other day. Not Blue Cheer. His Page's fave was Elliot Randall. Never heard of Elliot Randall. Yes. Dwight Yoakam still playing? That's fantastic. Dwight Yoakam. Music was culture phenomenal. Yes, 100%. It did. And all these people say, "Oh, you sound like a boomer." Okay, because I'm not a boomer, but the music in the late 60s and 70s was better. Just think about it. England is not a huge country. And you think about how many freaking insane musicians, Jeff Beck, all these guys came out of England. England, insane, man. And all these guys can kiss my big fat behind and say, "Oh, you're a boomer." Okay, boomer. Yeah, well, you're damn right. I'm not even a boomer, but that's what it takes. You can't listen to just put on a Led Zeppelin album, even Coda, for heaven's sake. You can't listen to that and say, "Oh, it's better today," because it's just you sound like you'd be an idiot to say that because it's stupid. What's this other band that's so stupid? It wasn't Blue Cheer. It was hold on a second. I did find a couple of good. I found some good music though. Some good metal I like. I found Charlie Daniels. Hell, we haven't talked about Southern rock. So I was listening to the Marshall Tucker band. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago, I remember. But remember the down in Macon, Georgia, Charlie Daniels. He auditioned. He wasn't Macon, but with Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan never did anything for me. But as he played with, he was on the Bob Dylan's band, whatever it is they call it, studio band. Charlie Daniels. I thought that was pretty cool. My man David Hoffman has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of historical videos. He used to be a filmmaker, and he showed Joni Mitchell singing with Ricky Skaggs. I can't remember who it was. Ricky Skaggs, I think. And that was pretty cool. And I never, Joni was happy, and obviously hippies, whatever. I was so over hippies by the time I, left my parents' realm that I couldn't stand them. But I never got a Joni. I don't know anything, but that was a pretty good video. It was Ricky Skaggs, I'm pretty sure. Joni Mitchell and Ricky Skaggs in California singing. It just was great. It was fantastic. It's just good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, some stupid bands too, don't get me wrong, but by and large, not in the late 70s or late 60s, early 70s. I mean, Cream, just it's crazy. It's just sad that you'll never get that back again. They'll forever be gone. In fact, just listen to I was listening to Mountain a couple weeks back. I never knew how good Mountain was and Leslie West and stuff. I never knew. I mean, it was always Mississippi Queen. I've heard a couple songs, but it's like, in hindsight, it's like, man, dude, you don't even know how good. This is a little bit before my time. I was born in 1970, so I really started listening to music about 1978, 79. But it's just it's just listen to Leslie West and Mountain. It's like, damn, I think he's from New Jersey of all places. Crazy. And I've said a million times, Gary Rosington, he owned this land literally just right over that mountain. This mountain, right over that kind of like high ground right there. Gary Rosington did. And he just died from Leonard Skinner, Gary Rosington. Yeah, exactly. Consider every teenager, including me, went to music back in the day. We knew everyone that was out there, followed music and religion. Yeah, it still is important. That's the thing. Yeah, but the country that exists today is still it's horrible too. It's that bro country stuff, Florida, Georgia line. Oh, gosh, horrible. All right, let's keep going here. I don't want to watch the basketball game because I'm going to get nervous. So I'm going to see my son getting upset if they lose. And I don't want to see him getting upset. All right, right here. Corporate bankruptcies are rising in 2023. Within the first 2 months of the year, the highest total for any comparable year since 2011. All right, so the first 2 months, we had 111 corporate bankruptcies. That's the highest since 2011 right there. And it's obviously after 2009. So what does that foretell? I don't know, but look at these. This is the concern. This right here doesn't bother me as much as this right here. Look how low these bankruptcies are in these 2 years. Some guy said it, and I don't think I have it on here, but basically he said the the corporations made their money after COVID, during the COVID years, and they hadn't had to pay the cost. Now the money's gone, and now the costs are coming. And that right there is what concerns me more than anything. They took a sleigh ride from Mountain. Now they had a song. You ever heard of Lucero? They're pretty good. Lucero out of Tennessee. I like them a lot. They're contemporary. They did a song called Mountain that sounds exactly like a song that Mountain had done. And I'm drawing a blank. Mountain Red. Long Red, that's what it's called. Long Red by Mountain, right here. All right, yikes. 16, the heater up by, who's up, Jill? The Heat? Yeah, I don't want to go. Can I buy long-term TLT call options? I don't know what TLT is. Is that Target? No. What's TLT? Anyway, so, but a great song is, speaking of Nantucket. Oh, I'm not going to be able to play it for you. The Nantucket Girls song. Yeah, Nantucket Girls song by the Tossers. Right. Reeling in the Years. That song didn't do anything for me. Reeling in the Years. Reeling in the Years. Yeah. What's that band's name again? I'm drawing a blank. They didn't even tour those guys, right? Not Doobie Brothers. Reeling in the Years. Going away the time. TLT is a long-term bond. I don't know. Can you buy call options on a bond? I probably could. I've never even thought about that, to be honest with you. I bet you probably could. That's actually interesting. I've never. I gotta look that up. That's a very interesting idea, actually. Let's look at TLT. Are you reeling? Steely Dan. That's what it was. Somebody ever say that? Stowing away the time. Yes, you can buy options on that. Now that is interesting. Look at that. So let's take a look at this real quick. Oh, Steely Dan. That didn't do anything for me. Seemed kind of too corporate, studio driven. That's just me. All right. So look, here's TLT options on this. So it's trading at 101. Let's say I bought an option out of the money. You always want to buy them out of the money. And you want to buy a long-term, we want in the money, we want out of the money. So we're going to go, let's say May of next year. And how come I can't get out? Oh, okay, I see. So we want a May out of so right now, it's 102 is a strike price. That's, oh wait, I don't want that. Stowing away the time. Caught right here. The last trade. Okay, gotcha. All right, so here we go. So here's May 2024. A 105 option costs you $6. So that costs you $600 for a 100 shares of TLT. All right. So if the price goes up, obviously you need the price to go. It's been a long time since I did this. So if you would need the price to go up. So if you bought this for $600 and the strike price is 105, you would be 105 600 into this, right? Is that right? 105 right. So you'd pay 105. It would have to go up for you. It have to go up. So that's 6 points base. There you go. So it'd have to go to 111 for you to be profitable. So this bond, I think the guy's name is Matthew Mark. This would have to go up from 101 to 111 for to be profitable for you, because you'd have to buy it at a 105. I mean, you obviously sell your option for that. I'm just saying, if you were to exercise and take hold of this, and then you'd have to make back the premium you put into it. So it'd have to go up about 10%. I think it's reasonable. Absolutely. I think it easily do that in the next 10, 12 months for sure. Okay, it's not showing. Or is it not? Is it okay? All right. I think it easily do that. All right, my friends. 2 hours and I'm out of here. That's I never thought. Why is it? I get out of here, watch the game with my kid here. He wants his pops. All right. So God bless you guys. We'll see you Wednesday on Locals. And thanks again for being here. Audio breaking up, owned by ESG BlackRock. Nope, yeah, 100%, man. Now I can hit the bathroom. Right. God bless. We'll see you guys. Thanks now.